Hi folks, Baz again with Strongman. I'm just going to do a quick product review of my reverse hyper machine that I purchased a couple of weeks back. You might have seen the video of me unboxing it and putting it together. If not, that's worth checking out if you like that sort of thing. Today I'm just going to literally give a bit of an overview of what it is, what it does, and how I found this version of it in terms of value for money, easiness to put together, easiness of use, etc. So here it is in situ anyway, and as you can see it's a pretty big unit, a lot of metal in there. I haven't got the side prongs just for weight storage on the side because I literally didn't have enough space. But yeah, the first thing you notice when you get the boxes is 3 random boxes. There's no explanation why they're in 3 boxes or what's in what box, but 3 big boxes with parts just kind of randomly wrapped tidily, but just lobbed in, so you literally have to get it out and have a look to make sure you've got everything. Then you're presented with this owner's manual, in the loosest sense of the term really. You got a parts list, and that's your instructions, which is basically just an exploded view, which I've got to say I struggled with. Trying to zoom in a bit there. My eyes are not the best. Zooming in with a phone here would probably help actually, but I had my boy to try and look at the numbers and identify the parts. First off, we had to go through this, which also wasn't easy really. If the parts had been numbered somehow, might have been easier, but trying to identify them, as you can see, there's a few little kind of mistakes, and a couple of the parts were very similar in size. You got your hex bolt M10s there, 75 and 80, which is one of that and 4 of that, which created a little confusion to start with, because when I laid all the parts out I had 5 and I know there's no 5s there. We solved that problem anyway, and we had all the parts, which is always good. So a big thumbs up for providing me with all the parts. There's nothing worse than finding out you haven't got all the parts and the stress that involves. But that's it. That's your instructions. As I said on my video, somewhat jokingly, I was hoping for Lego style instructions, say step 1. So I had to use my brain a little bit more than I like to, because it hurts, and basically just use common sense and start with the biggest pieces, the side struts, and look at the attachments to that. You've got the bar there that joins those 2 together, and that then sits on top. So I mean, it's not rocket science in terms of building it. There's not that many parts, but yeah, the instructions get a bit of a thumbs down really. So value for money, it's on the Strength Shop website. There's 2 versions. This is the cheaper of the 2, which was listed for £600 but currently has £100 off, which ultimately pushed me into getting it when I did, because I've been thinking about one for a while. There's a more expensive version as well, the premium edition, with a lot of yokes, Strength Shop stuff. They often do 2 models, a sort of entry level and then a premium version, which they call the Riot in the case of this, and also my yoke, which is over there. But I didn't get that from the Strength Shop. I ended up getting that second hand from eBay, and ended up paying less for the premium version than you would for the cheaper version. With this though, I felt that the cheaper version was expensive enough and would do me. So as I said, you can see it's a pretty solid thing, pretty heavy. I can't remember now what the weight of it was, but it was certainly, you know, the best part of 100 kilos. Very solid bits of metal, very well put together. I don't mean put together, but you know, because I did it, but you know, good solid bolts, nothing, no expense spared in terms of the bolts. This piece was a little bit strange. I felt that was a bit of a kind of botch really, but thinking about it, I think it has to bend in that situation to accommodate different users. This extension bit, that had to be fully extended for me. It was feeling a little awkward with anything less than the last setting, and I'm only 6 foot, so I'd be concerned if you were a little bit bigger than 6 foot as to the comfortability, if that's the word, of use. It just tends to resist on full extension. It feels like it's resisting me a little bit more, and that got better as I lowered that adjustable part. So as I say, that's as far as it goes. So if you're a little bit taller, I would be concerned of how that feels. So let's give it a go. So this is how it works. You've got two kind of foot supports. You put your feet in between and a bar to rest your feet on. You heave yourself like a beached whale up onto it. Two different handles to hold depending on your size, and then your legs, your hips are basically up on the pad, your legs hanging straight down, and with a straight leg you lift up from the hips. And you can really feel that in the sort of glute and lower back area. So does it do what it's meant to do? Well, the short answer is yes. It's by definition a reverse hyper extension machine. So it's replicating that hyper extension of your back, you know, when you do that sort of thing. Arching back, contracting of the lower back and the glutes. It does that very well. Obviously the reverse nature means you're hanging down doing that instead of a normal hyperextension. You're kind of doing that, yeah. So but it's working the same muscles. So it's advertised to strengthen that area, also as a benefit in rehabilitation if you've got any back problems, which I have had in the past. I've had some issues with my lower back, down to poor deadlifting technique, and I've gone a bit too heavy, I had a little spasm and that problem. Touch wood, not for a number of years, but it's something I'm always aware of. I'm always aware of my form on the deadlift, and as I have some goals in terms of lifting heavier and heavier, I wanted to strengthen that area. So the jury's still out in the sense of, will it help me strengthen that area? Will it help improve my deadlift? I think it will. There's a lot of kind of evidence out there to suggest so. And obviously Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell was the first to kind of bring this into this country. I say to this country, to the Western world, I suppose, being in America. And a lot of people, whilst the machine's quite rare in public gyms, you know, those in the know do say it's a good machine. So we'll see how it goes. In the sense of that rehab and keeping your lower back healthy, I've noticed a difference straight away. And I tried to explain it when I first used it. It feels like you've had a bit of a massage. It kind of knits everything together in your back, if you know what I mean. Whereas deadlifting very much hits that lower back, and then, you know, seated row, you're hitting the rhomboids a bit higher up, and the chin ups and all, like I'm going to do on a typical back day, hitting the lats. So this feels like it just gives you an overall kind of glow. and it just feels good in terms of your posture. You come off there, you feel like you're walking upright. You feel better in that sense. And I've only used it a few times, you know, on the back of back day and sometimes strongman day. So I'm definitely noticing something in that sense, in that lower back health, if you like, in terms of your posture and just how my back feels in general. So I'd have to say so far so good. Obviously I'm hoping for some deadlift gains as well. It's going to be difficult to separate that, of course. I'm doing a different progressive session at the moment in terms of my weight, but it can only help. So £500 a bit expensive just for that specific thing. In terms of what you can get for £500, obviously quite a lot of equipment, but this is quite specialized. You know, my rack, for example, cost less than £300. My power cage, and getting stuff off eBay secondhand, you know, you can get a lot for £500. You can certainly get 2 big bits of kit. My yoke, for example, which is a similar amount of metal, similar heavy thing, I paid £250 for that. So, you know, about half the price. So it depends what your goals are, what your needs are, and whether you can justify spending that sort of money. It's certainly something that you wouldn't get straight up if you were developing your own gym. I'd say that's sort of one of the last bits of kit you'd consider if you had the space and, you know, if you've got everything else you need. So, but yeah, hopefully so far so good with it. I do recommend it in that sense. If you've got everything else you need and you're looking for something to give you a little bit of an edge, help you break through plateau, and you know, if you've had any back problems, I think it's really good for back health. So all in all, I give it the thumbs up, with a caveat about its price and value for money, how it fits in with your other equipment and your budget really is my only sort of criticism. The product itself, of course, I criticise the instructions, but apart from that, all the bits were there. So, you know, fair play to Strength Shop. They do make good stuff, and they do provide all the parts, you know. Okay, if you've enjoyed my video today, please drop me a thumbs up and please subscribe for future Strongman content. I'm Baz at Garage Strongman. See you soon.